With contempt sealed in a $10 birthday gift card, she'd scrawled a note. For a dinner worthy of your ambitions. Little did she know the true ambitions that simmered within me as she clawed her way up the corporate ladder by any means necessary. I, on the other hand, was quietly making the most significant investment of my life. Sometimes, the most dangerous person is the one you've already written off. My name is Evan Andrews, and I'm 38 years old. For the last decade, I've worked as a structural engineer, specializing in sustainable infrastructure. Not the kind of job that makes headlines or sparks whispers at cocktail parties, but one that tangibly changes the world. I design bridges, tunnels, and water systems meant to outlive me by a century. My work is solid, dependable, built to last. The same couldn't be said for my marriage. Our problems had begun 3 years prior, when I declined a promotion that would have necessitated moving our family to Houston. Our children, Emma, 12, and Jason, 9, were thriving in their schools. Emma had just made the prestigious swim team, and Jason had finally found teachers who understood how to work with his ADHD. Uprooting them felt selfish, so I refused. "You have got to be kidding me," Catherine had spat that evening when I told her my decision. She stood in our kitchen, still in her power suit from her job at a marketing agency. That was a 6-figure position. "I know what it was," I replied calmly. "And I also know what our kids need right now." Catherine slammed her wine glass onto the countertop. "And what about what I need? Another year in this mediocrity." That word, mediocrity, became her favorite weapon. Our 4-bedroom colonial in a good school district suddenly became mediocre. My reliable Honda, shamefully mediocre. My fulfilling work and her steady climb became a celebration of mediocrity. 6 months later, Catherine landed a job at Meridian Advertising, one of the most prestigious firms in our state. Suddenly, she was attending galas, client dinners, and out-of-state team-building retreats. Her boss, Richard Vaughn, became a constant topic of our increasingly infrequent family dinners. Richard says, "At Richard's lake house, Richard thinks." I noticed the changes in her wardrobe, her perfume, her late nights. I wasn't blind, but I held on to the hope that she would remember what we had built together. I focused on being a stable presence for Emma and Jason, who were confused by their mother's growing absence. Little did I know then that the foundations I had been building for years were about to be tested in ways I could never have imagined, and that the engineering skills I had honed designing structures to withstand catastrophic forces would soon be applied to rebuilding my own life from the ground up. The breaking point arrived on my 38th birthday. I wasn't expecting much, maybe dinner with the kids, a card. Catherine had been distant for months, barely acknowledging my existence beyond necessary household logistics. But birthdays had always been important in our family. That morning, I found a small envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a $10 Burger King gift card and a note in Catherine's elegant script. "For a dinner worthy of your ambitions. Happy birthday, my mediocre husband." I stood there, coffee mug halfway to my lips, feeling as though I'd been punched in the gut. Emma walked in and saw the card in my hand. "Is that your birthday present, Dad?" she asked, her 12-year-old eyes bright with curiosity. I shoved it into my pocket. "Just a joke from Mom," I said, forcing a smile. "Hey, how about pancakes this morning?" The day spiraled from there. Catherine didn't come home that night. "Client emergency," her text read. I tucked the kids into bed, telling them Mom was stuck at work. Jason asked if we could have a real party on the weekend. "Absolutely, buddy," I said, ruffling his hair. "But every day with you two is a party for me." After they were asleep, I sat in my home office staring at that gift card. 15 years, reduced to a $10 insult. I opened my laptop and typed Richard Vaughn, Meridian Advertising into the search bar. I had avoided looking before, clinging to the possibility of denial. Not anymore. My phone vibrated. A text from Tom Wilson, my college roommate who now worked in corporate law. Sorry I missed your birthday, man. Lunch tomorrow? Something about hitting rock bottom brings a strange clarity. Over sandwiches the next day, I finally told Tom everything. She's having an affair with her boss, I concluded. I've suspected it for months. Tom's face darkened. That's rough, Evan. What are you going to do? I don't know. Divorce seems inevitable, but the kids... There's something else you should know, Tom said cautiously. Meridian Advertising is in trouble. I've heard through professional channels they've lost some major clients, and there are rumors of financial irregularities. I frowned. What kind of irregularities? The kind that would interest the SEC. Richard Vaughn has a reputation for cutting corners. Tom hesitated. Look, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but your timing might be perfect. Meridian's parent company is looking for quiet investment to avoid a public scandal. Major shareholders are looking to bail. A strange calm settled over me. How much would it take to become a significant shareholder? Tom looked at me, surprised. You're not thinking, I have patents, I interrupted. 3 of them, for sustainable infrastructure components. I've turned down buyout offers for years because of Catherine. Understanding dawned in Tom's eyes. You didn't want to risk the family's stability. Exactly. But now, I pulled out the Burger King gift card and placed it on the table. Now I have nothing left to lose. Tom stared at the card, then at me. I'll make some calls, but Evan, are you sure about this? Revenge rarely delivers what people hope for. This isn't about revenge, I replied with a conviction I hadn't felt in months. It's about justice and the future of my children. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings and financial negotiations. I sold my patents to a sustainable technology firm for $4.2 million, far exceeding my expectations. Under Tom's guidance, I established Cornerstone Investments LLC, a shell company designed to obscure my identity during the acquisition of Meridian's stock. At home, I maintained a facade of an oblivious husband. Catherine barely noticed my late nights, as she was rarely home herself. The kids sensed the growing distance, though one evening I found Emma sitting alone in the darkened living room. "Sweetheart, what are you doing up?" I asked, sitting beside her. "Are you and Mom getting a divorce?" Her voice was small but direct. I took a deep breath. "I don't know yet, but I want you to know something important. Whatever happens between your mom and me, it won't change how much we both love you and Jason." "She doesn't act like she loves us," Emma said bitterly. "She missed my swim meet again yesterday to be with Richard." She spat the name out. I was taken aback. "You know about Richard?" Emma rolled her eyes with teenage exasperation. "Dad, I'm 12, not 2. Mom talks about him all the time, texts him. She even smells different when she comes home late." My chest tightened. I pulled her into a hug. "I'm so sorry you've had to go through this. I promise I'm working on making things better." "Will you fight for us, Dad?" Emma asked, her voice muffled against my shoulder. "With everything I have," I vowed. "I'm your father. That's what fathers do." The next day, Tom called with news. "We've acquired 18% of Meridian's stock through various channels. Major shareholders are selling fast. They know something's coming, but Evan, there's more. Richard Vaughn has been falsifying client billing reports, charging premium rates, but delivering budget work, pocketing the difference. Can you prove it? With access to their financial systems? Absolutely." I thought of Catherine's expensive new wardrobe, her late nights, her dismissive attitude towards the life we had built. My wife had given me a $10 coupon for my birthday, mocking my failed existence. Little did she know I had secretly bought a stake in the company she worked for, and soon I would be walking into that boardroom with one agenda: to fire her lover. "Let's move forward," I said. "How much more do we need for a controlling interest?" Catherine's transformation continued at home. One evening, she came back late as I was helping Jason with his science project, building bridges out of popsicle sticks. How quaint, she remarked, her voice dripping with condescension. Like father, like son, doing little things that go nowhere. I felt Jason stiffen beside me. Actually, I replied calmly, we're testing load distribution principles. These structures can hold over 50 pounds when properly scaled. Fascinating, she said, making no attempt to hide her disinterest. I was helping Richard prepare for the Griffith presentation, a $20 million campaign. Do you even comprehend what that kind of success looks like, Evan? I think I'm starting to, I replied, meeting her gaze. Later, after tucking Jason into bed, I found Catherine in our bedroom, packing an overnight bag. Another emergency meeting? I asked. She didn't even look up. The Griffith team needs urgent revisions. I'll be at the office all night with Richard. She paused for a beat. Yes, with Richard. He's the creative director. That's how business works, Evan. Is business all that matters? Catherine finally turned to face me, her expression cold. What is that supposed to mean? That's why you're stuck in a dead-end job, she snapped. You don't see opportunities. You don't recognize ambition. You're so content with your mediocre life that you want to drag me down with you. Well, I refuse to be anchored. The kids miss you. They'll understand someday, she said, zipping her bag. Success demands sacrifices. After she left, I logged into my secure email account. Tom had sent the latest report. Cornerstone now controlled 26% of Meridian's parent company stock. The quarterly board meeting was in 3 weeks. Just 5% more, and I could trigger a vote of no confidence in Richard Vaughn's leadership. That night, I made another call to the private investigator Tom had recommended. I needed concrete proof of the financial irregularities and also of Catherine's affair with Richard. Not for revenge, but for leverage in the inevitable custody battle. The pieces were falling into place. My entire career, I had built structures strong enough to withstand storms. Now, I was building something else, a future where my children would be protected and where the truth would finally see the light. The quarterly board meeting of Meridian's parent company was scheduled for a Tuesday morning at their downtown headquarters. By the previous Friday, Cornerstone Investments had secured 34% of the stock, more than enough to initiate a vote. Tom had briefed me extensively on corporate protocol, but nothing could fully prepare me for what was about to unfold. I arrived early, wearing a tailored suit Catherine had never seen, part of my new wardrobe for this new chapter of my life. The security guard checked my credentials. Mr. Andrews, you're not on my usual list. I'm representing Cornerstone Investments, I replied, handing over the documents Tom had prepared. We are the largest shareholder as of last week. Within minutes, I was escorted to the boardroom, where executives were milling about, nursing coffee cups and exchanging polite business chatter. Richard Vaughn stood at the head of the long table, tall and slick in an expensive suit, his confidence radiating through his practiced smile. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? I was just the insignificant husband of his mistress. A hush fell over the room as the chairman called the meeting to order. We have a new significant shareholder joining us today, he announced, all eyes turning to me. Evan Andrews representing Cornerstone Investments, I said, my voice steady. We currently hold 34% of the company's stock. I watched as Richard's expression shifted from polite interest to confusion. The chairman continued with routine business, but I saw Richard lean over to his CFO, whispering something in his ear. Glances were exchanged, phones were subtly checked. When we reached the agenda item titled Review of Management Performance, I raised my hand. Cornerstone Investments would like to express concerns regarding the financial reporting of Meridian Advertising under its current leadership. A palpable silence descended upon the room. The chairman cleared his throat. Mr. Andrews, this is a serious matter. Do you have specific concerns you'd like to share? I do. I opened a folder containing the evidence we had compiled over the past 18 months. Meridian has systematically overbilled clients while providing substandard work. The difference has been funneled through a series of shell companies into personal accounts linked to Richard Vaughn. Chaos erupted in the boardroom. Richard shot to his feet. "This is absurd! Who the hell are you?" The chairman banged his gavel. "Mr. Vaughn, please. Mr. Andrews, these are extremely serious allegations. Do you have proof?" "I do. I've prepared documentation for each member of the board." I nodded to an assistant who distributed the folders. "You'll find evidence of billing discrepancies, fund transfers, and client complaints that were suppressed." As the board members flipped through the documents, Richard's face paled. He stared at me, recognition finally dawning. "You're Catherine's husband?" I met his gaze. "Yes, but that's irrelevant to the financial malfeasance documented in these files." "This is a personal vendetta," Richard blurted out, his eyes darting around the table in desperation. "He's doing this because his wife and I are having an affair. This is corporate harassment." The chairman adjusted his glasses, his eyes scanning the documents. "Mr. Vaughn, regardless of any personal matters, these allegations appear to be substantiated. Client testimonials, bank statements, email correspondence." He looked up, his expression grave. "We need to discuss this immediately." "I move for a vote of no confidence in Richard Vaughn's leadership," I stated formally, "and request his immediate suspension pending a full forensic audit." The board secretary tallied the votes. 7 in favor, 3 against. Richard's face contorted with rage. "You'll regret this," he hissed, as security was called to escort him from the room. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." I remained calm. "Actually, I have a very good idea. That's why we're here." As the meeting adjourned, my phone vibrated. A text from Catherine. "What the hell have you done? Richard just called, screaming about you at his board meeting." I didn't reply. The confrontation I had been preparing for was imminent, and it wouldn't happen over text. Catherine was waiting for me at home, pacing the living room like a caged animal. A storm of confusion and fury raged on her face. "Explain yourself," she demanded. "How did you get into that boardroom? What did you do to Richard?" "Where are the kids?" I asked calmly. "Who are you?" "Answer me, Evan." I deliberately placed my briefcase on the floor. "I didn't do anything to Richard. He did it to himself by embezzling his client's money. I simply brought it to light." "How? By crashing a private board meeting? By becoming a major shareholder? With what money, Evan? Your bridge builder salary?" Her voice dripped with the same contempt I had grown accustomed to. "I sold my patents," I said. "The ones you always called my garage tinkering. They were worth $4.2 million. She was momentarily speechless, staring at me. I continued. "I established Cornerstone Investments and acquired a controlling interest in Meridian's parent company. The board voted to suspend Richard based on the evidence of financial fraud." "This is insane," she whispered. "You did all of this to get back at me for—" I pulled the Burger King gift card from my wallet and placed it on the coffee table. "That was just the tipping point, Catherine. You've been undermining me, betraying me, and neglecting our children for over a year. While you were building your relationship with Richard, I was building something else." "So this is revenge?" she asked bitterly. "No, this is consequence. Richard broke the law. He's facing the results of his actions." I sat down opposite her, just like we are now. Catherine's eyes welled up with tears. Whether they were genuine or a tactical move, I couldn't tell anymore. What happens now? Professionally, Meridian will undergo a full forensic audit. Richard will likely face criminal charges. I paused. Personally, I've filed for divorce. The papers are in my briefcase. "Divorce?" Her voice cracked. "You can't just throw away 15 years of marriage." "You already did," I replied evenly. "The night you started sleeping with Richard. The day you decided our children weren't worth your time. The moment you handed me a $10 fast food coupon for my birthday with a note mocking me." She sank onto the sofa. "The kids will hate me." "No," I said firmly. "I won't let that happen. They will know that we both love them even if we can't be together. I've requested primary physical custody, but with generous visitation rights for you. They need their mother, Catherine, but not the version of you that's been coming home lately. And if you fight this, I met her gaze, then we'll do this the hard way. But I have documentation of your affair, your absences, and your behavior towards the children. And now, I have the resources to see it through. For the first time in a long time, Catherine looked at me, truly looked at me, not with contempt. It wasn't love or respect, but something akin to shock. "I never thought you were capable of this," she whispered. "That was your mistake," I replied. "One of many." The fallout was swift and far-reaching. Within days, the news of Richard's suspension and the financial investigation hit the business press. Catherine moved out temporarily, saying she needed space to process everything. The kids stayed with me, a situation that brought both relief and a deep ache. They missed their mother, despite everything. One evening, Emma found me in the home office, reviewing custody documents. "Dad, can I ask you something?" she said, standing in the doorway. "Always," I replied, setting the papers aside. She came in and sat across from me. "Did you get Mom's boyfriend fired?" I considered my answer. "I uncovered financial irregularities at his company. The board made the decision to suspend him." "But you did it because of Mom and him, right? Because they hurt you?" "That was part of it," I admitted, "but also because what he was doing was wrong. He was stealing from clients, lying to his company." Emma nodded slowly. "Jason thinks you're like a superhero who beat the bad guy." I couldn't help but smile. "I'm no superhero, sweetie. I'm just a dad trying to protect what's important." "Is Mom a bad person?" Her voice was small. I moved to sit beside her. "No. Your mom made some choices I don't agree with. Choices that hurt our family. But she loves you and Jason. That hasn't changed. She calls me a lot. Sometimes she cries." My chest tightened. "What does she say? That she made a mistake? That she wants to come home?" Emma looked at me. "Will she?" "Not to live with us, no. But she'll always be a part of our lives as your mother." The next morning, Richard Vaughn made his move. I received an alert from my bank. Someone had attempted to access my accounts using personal information that should have been confidential. Then Tom called. "Evan, someone's trying to dig up dirt on Cornerstone. They've been contacting your former colleagues, even your old professors at engineering school." "Richard," I said. "He's desperate, most likely. But there's more. Catherine has filed a countersuit to your divorce petition, claiming you used marital assets without her consent to fund Cornerstone. She wants half of everything." I took a deep breath. "She's working with him." "Looks that way. Her filing mentions undue emotional distress and intentional public humiliation. She's playing the victim, Evan." I thought of the kids, especially Emma's questions. "Let them dig. We've done everything by the book." "But Tom, I need this to be over quickly for my children's sake." "We could release the private investigator's photos," Tom suggested. "The hotel meetings—" "No," I interrupted firmly. "I will not subject my children to that kind of public spectacle. There has to be another way." Later that day, I received a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. You destroyed what I built for years. I'll do the same to you." It was followed by a picture of my house, taken that day from across the street. Instead of fear, I felt a cold, clear resolve. Richard had crossed another line. This was no longer just about business. He was threatening my home, my children's safety. I called the police immediately, then my security consultant. By evening, I had round-the-clock security and a new alarm system installed. I would not be intimidated. My entire family was on the line now. The temporary custody hearing was scheduled for Thursday morning. As I was getting ready to leave for court, Catherine arrived unexpectedly. "We need to talk," she said, looking uncharacteristically subdued in a conservative dress. Her usual designer style had been replaced by something more suitable for family court. I have a hearing in an hour, I replied, glancing at my watch. That's why I'm here. Call off the lawyers, Evan. We can work this out ourselves. I studied her face. The last I heard, you were demanding half of Cornerstone and filing claims for emotional distress. She flushed. Richard was advising me. He was angry, pushing for aggressive action. And now, Catherine sighed. Now he's facing criminal charges for embezzlement. His reputation is ruined, and I realize I was misguided. That's one word for it, I said, without malice. I don't want to fight you for the kids, she continued. You're right, you should have primary custody. I haven't been there for them, even before all of this. I see that now. I regarded her skeptically. What changed? Emma called me yesterday. She asked me if I loved you and them, or if I only loved Richard and being important. Catherine's voice trembled. Hearing my 12-year-old daughter question my love for her, something broke in me. Evan made me see what I've done. Despite everything, I felt a pang of sympathy. The kids need their mother, Catherine. That's never been in question. But do they need a mother who betrayed their father, who chose status over family? She wiped a tear. I don't expect forgiveness, but please, let me have a chance to rebuild my relationship with Emma and Jason on your terms. I considered her words carefully. This was the woman who had mocked me, betrayed me, threatened to take me to court. But she was also the mother of my children. Here's what I propose, I finally said. We cancel today's hearing. I retain primary custody. You get regular visitation, supervised at first, and we'll see how it goes. We split our assets as originally outlined in my filing, and you drop all claims against Cornerstone and Richard. And Richard? She asked quietly. I will continue to cooperate with the financial investigation. That's non-negotiable. But I won't actively pursue the personal evidence unless he continues to threaten me or the children. Catherine nodded slowly. He texted me last night. He's leaving the country for a while, some kind of consulting job in Dubai. Convenient timing, I remarked. Are you going with him? No, she said firmly. My place is here, trying to earn back my children's trust, even if I've lost yours forever. As we walked towards our separate cars, Catherine stopped. That Burger King card, it was cruel. I'm sorry, Evan. You deserved better. Yes, I agreed simply. We both did, and so did our kids. 6 months passed, the seasons changed, and so did our lives. Richard Vaughn eventually settled with the SEC and avoided jail time, but his career in advertising was effectively over. Last I heard, he was working for a marketing firm in Dubai, a far cry from the prestigious position he once held. Catherine and I finalized our divorce with surprisingly little conflict. True to her word, she focused on rebuilding her relationship with the kids, showing up regularly for weekends, school events, and Emma's swim meets. She found a job at a smaller agency, less glamorous than Meridian, but better suited to her actual skills rather than her ambitions. Cornerstone Investments continued to grow under careful management. I remained a significant shareholder in Meridian's parent company, but stepped back from active involvement once new leadership was in place. My focus remained where it belonged, on Emma and Jason, and on rebuilding our sense of family. One crisp October Saturday morning, I was helping Jason practice soccer in the backyard when Catherine dropped Emma off from a swim meet. Dad, I came in second, Emma yelled, running towards me with her medal. That's fantastic. I gave her a genuine hug, pride swelling in my chest. Catherine approached more slowly, her hands tucked into the pockets of her coat. She shaved 2 seconds off her best time. The coach says she has real potential for regionals. We should celebrate, I said. Jason and I were going to grill burgers for dinner. Want to stay? The question surprised even me. 6 months ago, I couldn't have imagined willingly sharing a meal with her. Catherine looked equally taken aback. I'd like that, if the kids are okay with it. Emma and Jason enthusiastically agreed. and soon the four of us were gathered around the patio table. The conversation was tentative at first, but not strained. We talked about school projects, swim meets, and Jason's upcoming science fair. As Catherine helped clear the plates, she paused. "It's good to see you with them like this. You've always been the strong one, the steady one. I couldn't see it before." "I was always the same person," I replied. "You just wanted something different." She nodded slowly. "Yes, and in chasing it, I lost sight of what truly mattered." "Not everything," I said, glancing at the kids who were playing with the neighbor's dog on the lawn. "You're still their mother. That hasn't changed." Later, after Catherine had left and the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch with a cup of coffee, reflecting on the events of the past year. The pain hadn't completely vanished, but its sharp edges had softened. I no longer felt defined by Catherine's betrayal or my reaction to it. My phone vibrated. A text from Tom. "Peterson Infrastructure Project needs a lead engineer. They specifically asked for you. Interested?" I smiled. Life was moving forward, not in the direction I had once planned, but perhaps in the direction it needed to go. A year after that pivotal boardroom confrontation, I stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Westlake Bridge project as the lead engineer. I had incorporated my patented sustainable design elements, creating a structure that would serve the community for generations while minimizing its environmental impact. Emma and Jason stood beside me, both having insisted on skipping school for Dad's big day. At 13, Emma was blossoming into a confident young woman, possessing her mother's beauty, but thankfully with a more grounded perspective. Jason, now 10, channeled his boundless energy into both soccer and science. His ADHD, with the right support, had become more of a strength than a hindrance. After the ceremony, a reporter approached me. "Mr. Andrews, you turned down several more prestigious projects to spearhead this local bridge construction. Why?" I glanced at my children before answering. "Because some things are more important than prestige. This bridge connects communities, including the one where my children are growing up. What could be more significant than that?" Later that evening, we celebrated with pizza at home. Catherine joined us briefly, bringing congratulatory cupcakes before heading to her evening classes. She had gone back to university to pursue a degree in graphic design, rebuilding her career on genuine talent rather than connections. After the kids were asleep, I sat in my home office, finalizing the plans for Cornerstone's latest initiative, a scholarship fund for underprivileged engineering students. The fund would be named after my father, who had taught me that true strength wasn't measured in titles or bank accounts, but in the lives you impacted and the principles you upheld. My phone vibrated. A text from Richard Vaughn. "Heard about your bridge project. Impressive work. Maybe I underestimated you." I considered replying, but ultimately put my phone down. That chapter was closed. I had nothing left to prove to Richard, to Catherine, or to anyone else. The Burger King gift card still sat in my desk drawer, not as a reminder of humiliation, but as a marker of the moment I took my life back. Catherine had given me that $10 coupon, thinking she was mocking my failed existence. Little did she know her cruelty would breed not revenge, but a rebirth. I understood now that the true measure of a man wasn't in how he handled success, but in how he responded to betrayal and disappointment, not with bitterness or malice, but with strategic resolve and unwavering principles. Closing my laptop and turning off the office light, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. A profound sense of peace with the path I had chosen and the man I had become. Not perfect, certainly, but authentic. Not defined by others' expectations, but by my own values. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all.